Welcome to the DEC4 podcast. You can access episodes, companion articles, research notes and links, as well as information about our contributors and supporters at dec4podcast.com. Hope you enjoy the program. And they finished off with Early Morning Rain, and I think probably if there was any of the tracks that they did that perhaps could have benefited from another take, it was probably that one. But I think Marty Pasetta was smart enough to realise that everybody had had enough by then, and, they would let it stand as it was. And it certainly wasn't a bad version. It was a nice version. But how did you see the recording of those insert tracks?
I don't want to say that they're dispensable. I mean, I can understand their place in the broadcast version, and they make good sense, and they're Hawaiian songs. No More is one of my favorite movie songs. It's a wonderful, wonderful tune. I guess they all ended up on that Mahalo from Elvis album that was put out after his death, I think, on the one side of that record anyways. So they're nice performances. Again, Elvis seems like he's done with this. He doesn't seem super duper engaged. Doesn't even look as great as he did, just an hour before on stage during the concert. But the songs are nice and good versions. And you could tell, though, it was a matter of, we're not loving this too much. This is not, super great. This is just business. Let's get this in the can. Let's move along. But they work out pretty good. They're not bad.
Now, these are just some of the audience figures from the initial broadcast. These are RCA's publicity figures, so I guess we just have to bear that in mind. 91.8% of the Philippine population watched, 25% of the Hong Kong population. It was actually also relayed from Hong Kong via Macau to China. 70 to 80% of the television sets in South Korea, 37.8% in Japan. Now, we know that the audience figures of 1.5 billion for that broadcast and delayed telecast, they've been questioned, perhaps with good reason, but I don't think it really matters, does it, Gary? Because by any estimation, it dominated ratings live and delayed, and then again when it was repackaged for television. So I don't think we really need to get too hung up on whether it really was 1.5 billion, do we?
No, I mean, it's even if the number is sort of fudged, it's meant to depict the enormity of it. I mean, you can't overstate, I think, the significance of this as a television event. Numbers aside, no doubt, it was huge, and it ranks up there with the biggest. Now, it's so different nowadays. Things are huge, and you can watch them on your phone sitting who knows where. But back in that day, it was different. And so a huge swaths of the whole planet watch this. There's no denying, numbers aside, there's no denying the hugeness.
Marty Pasetta said, once again, we're referring to his interview in the Desert Sun. What I was told by NBC and others is that every third person on Earth saw that first show when it went out. In Africa and places like that, it played in theatres where they didn't have television. But one thing that is, and I had misremembered this, I had thought, even the Colonel had been so caught up in the emotion, and there had been a real emotional connection at that point between Elvis and him personally face to face. But when I went back to read it again, and we're referring to Peter Guralnick's biography again, no, it wasn't face to face. Colonel wrote him a letter at 3 a.m. from wherever he was, the next room.
Oh, boy.
So, anyway, this is Guralnick's take on that letter. Not long afterward, the Colonel wrote Elvis a letter, dateline Sunday morning, 3 a.m., January 14, 1973. It may have expressed as much sentiment as the Colonel had ever committed to paper, as he declared defiantly that they didn't need to hug each other to show their feelings, because they could tell just by looking at one another from the stage and from the floor how the other felt. And the Colonel said, I always know when I do my part, you always do yours in your own way and in your feeling in how to do it best. That is why you and I are never at each other when we are doing our work in our own best way possible at all times. Interesting wording, isn't it? It's sort of, it's you and I and no one else matters is sort of the sentiment, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And it's funny, he again, we can say things about the Colonel, most of them are true, but even the enormity of the success was not lost on him, and maybe there was a bit of emotion, wow, look at us. And here is one case where you got to say that each did do his part. I mean, there was a lot of logistical things, and we can talk about the players, Marty Pasetta, etc. But Colonel did do this was quite a Colonel achievement. But again, like, he had the product, and that's the only way he could have done this. Could Elvis have been successful without Colonel Parker? I would think so. Colonel Parker without Elvis, maybe not so much. Definitely he had the product and it came off well. But benefit of the doubt, maybe he doesn't want to go over into the room and bother Elvis with his friends or whatever. Anyways, it was nice that he took the time, and it was a bit of a moment, and it's nice. Let's just accept it as being, a nice moment.
And he concluded, you above all make all of it work by being the leader and the talent. Without your dedication to your following, it couldn't have been done. So, that is a nice sentiment, because unfortunately things would not remain that warm between them, sadly. But yes, that is a nice moment in time. Podcast terms and conditions can be found at our website, DEC4podcast.com. You can contact us there or on our social media. Find us on the major podcasting platforms, and we're also on Substack, Facebook, Tumblr and Instagram. This has been George Fairbrother. Thanks for listening.